Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your girl, Kimberly Cloud. Today, we got a special guest for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Thanks, Kimberly, for having me. First of all, my name's Tony L. I am the author and producer of Project Third Eye Open. My whole point is to help people just for a second think. Think about what's going on around you. Use your third eye to look at things differently, not just take what other people tell you or the group think, but try to think for yourself. We all see things happening, and our first instinct it says, "Did I just see what I thought I saw?" And while we're going through that, we have the world come in and tell them, no, 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 you didn't see that, you didn't hear that. This is what you saw. This is what you heard. Go with this. And I just want to have everybody to stop for a moment because we are in a very, very perilous time right now as a country, as a world. And many of us need to think about what's really, really going on. We all feel the pain. We all feel the pain, but none of us really, really want to take responsibility of asking the question, where's it coming from?
Why does it seem like when we sit up there and we ask questions, do we get suppressed and called crazy?
Because they, to me, there's an orchestrated agenda going on to bring this country down and to put all people who want to be free, really free, and to be able to think clearly for our own best interests, there's orchestrated effort to suppress that because remember America is exceptional because we were the only country to go against common reality, that's groupthink or um, government down concept. We are the only one that come up out and says people up, people people first, government second, and that hurt a lot of pocketbooks, and it still does. It still does. It's all about money. Everything comes back to money eventually, and free people may not want to go down that rabbit hole or down that path that you want me to go because it's for your best interest. I may not want to go down that path and being a free mind, I may choose not to, or I may choose to. But they want to make sure that we go the path that they want us to go.
How do Who in particular are they? Like, what do you mean by they? And when you define they, tell me what is a solution?
Ooh, well, those are both complicated questions. There's no one they, and I'm not really
I agree.
saying they. They is the boogeyman. I mean,
Fair
I
enough.
mean, it's no boogeyman. I mean, it's just what they want me to do and what I want to do. Do those two both come together? If they want me to do something that I already want to do, not a problem. But if they want to force me, manipulate me to do something that's against my best interest, that's where the problem comes in. And the they is are people, in my humble opinion, who are atheists by nature because they don't want that
To be able
entity.
to, they
The,
don't want somebody to look up to because they want to be empowered
yes,
themselves.
they want to be the
Yeah.
God. They want to be the
Hmm.
God. You know, so it's not a Christian doing this. It's an atheist because they want to be our God. So let's start there. So anything anti-Christian is the they. And what's the solution? I don't know. I mean,
What would you do if you were when you're hit with those issues of somebody trying to attack your Christianity or whatever religion you are?
look to the Most High. Look to the Most High. I mean, that's that at the end of the day is going to be a solution, and whatever that is. But it comes down to what one sees um, in that Most High. Who's their true God? Because the true God is not going to put them in a situation that is going to be harmful to them. That's just not going to happen. So if you put yourself in a situation that's harmful to you, you could best believe that you're looking at another God, not my God.
You know, now that we're speaking about this, and then we're going to go from religion to politics, I must say this today. I have to apologize for my behavior. However, I don't apologize for what I said, told the girl. So what happened was I came into the tropical smoothie, and I think that it's an organization since I ran for president out to attack me and belittle and emasculate me. So I walked up in there because they took 10 minutes to create my drink, and it was a Mexican girl. And so I immediately started recording. She said she didn't feel comfortable. So I immediately turned it off for her respect. I gave her the G code respect, but she kept going on. And then she began to say she don't feel comfortable with me around her young adults. And you know what I told her? I said, before you attack me, don't sit up there and identify yourself as a young adult when you're jumping in an adult face like you're an adult. So you be prepared for what an adult is going to tell you. But I'm not going to hit you, but I'm going to tell you, I don't like immigrants because this is the exact reason. And she refused my service. They banned me, and she got what she wanted. And this is the emasculation I go through. But for all the good white and black people out there, if I have to go through that just to give you a life lesson to what to do and how to do it, I would gladly go and suffer so that I can, but I'm happy that Donald Trump is getting them out of here. I am never going to change who I am because if I was in power, I would take them and send them back. Because if they can emasculate and harm one black woman, they're watching and emasculating millions. And they are. It's only 40 million of us, you
Mm.
know, and that's sick. So how would you feel? What would you do? I don't mean to bring this about me, but I
No,
had to because I want you to know that's why it took so long for me to get back to you.
I
And I
appreciate that.
apologize, and that's from the heart. But
Appreciate
what
that.
would you do? Let's talk politics. How do you view politics and why?
Everything involves politics. I mean, is concerning to me. So many people wanted this bill on politics. Particularly females. And as our country become more and more feminized, constructed that way, more and more people are becoming apolitical, and I think that's a danger in a free society that really really put in our covenant to be vigilant over our people who we created to govern us, not rule us, but govern us. So I think everything's politics. Everything involves money, and sometimes the two are one and the same. But in the point that you mentioned, I think if we look at things that way and we understand that the immigrant problem, no, the immigrant situation didn't get here on its own. There's is it's a We have to look at things in context. When you look at the political issues and decisions that have been made over the last 60 years, one in regards to baby killing, i.e., abortion, then that comes from Margaret Singer, the Democrat Party. Then when you
Why
look
do
at,
they want to? Before you go any further, why would you want to kill a child? You're pro kill child, and then rumors go around talking about people like Beyonce sacrificing children overseas, and I'm like, okay, so what? It's patterns, right?
well, but like I said, atheist mindset. This is a spiritual battle. It's not a physical battle. So if we look at that from a spiritual point of view, we look at people who are the atheist mindset and those who are more of a Christian mindset. So that answers a lot of people's questions if you come from that point of view. So you have the baby killing running amok. You have the feminization of masculinity and the masculinization of femininity, where now the genders do not want to get along because women don't want to be a woman, and man feels alienated when a real man try to be a man with that woman.
You know, the
We
Democrats has failed us because all those people that are LGBT,
mhm.
their whole organization or their whole group, they're going to die off because they're cutting and slicing. They can't conceive nothing.
No, that that is why we have the immigrant issue. The West is dying because they put up these progressive um, paths that they wanted to put everybody on that is totally unnatural. And what they say, God will not be mocked. So he's not being mocked because you cannot have you cannot reproduce without two people to reproduce. That's
That's
male
why
and
he made
female.
it. That's why
Exactly.
he did not. If he wanted God, if God wanted it in a woman to be a man image, he would have made a woman into a half a man, half
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah. 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 I mean, even with hermaphrodites has a base gender. It's typically it's going to be a male. Now that male may have female parts or whatever, but you could be one or the other. You know, so you have those two things going on. You had the feminization of the culture, then you had the killing of your own people. So when a country or community does that, you still got to keep the engine of the economy going. So now they have to bring in, not by accident, people from a culture who are having babies. That is the Hispanics, that people from the south of the border, and you see the same thing in Europe and the same thing in Israel. We have a negative birth rate, and it's extremely negative in Europe. They have no choice unless they admit. If they admit that the past injustices and the past wrongs, and stop all of this anti-families, but they don't want to admit that because then they will come out come out the closet to be the real selves, their true selves, and they don't want to do that. So rather than do that, they want to bring in a whole culture that is repugnant to their culture.
You know,
Islam radicals are not conducive with Christianity.
tell me more.
Well, um, extreme Islam is anti-Christian. This is why
They
we had
killed the Jews, right?
exactly, and this
That
is
is
why
sick.
we had the Barber Wars with Thomas Jefferson and the Crusade. You know, their their Quran, and no disrespect to people who read the real Quran, these people do not believe the way we believe. Their Sharia law was totally opposite of what we see as decency, and this and they are a warlike people. We have repentance in our religion. They don't have repentance in theirs.
40 plus years they allowed Islamic people that hate Jews and hate God secretly to come over here, pitch a tent at police camps, pitch a tent at the White House,
Yeah,
just waiting like sleepers. Sleepers are those individuals who wake up. They don't even have to know they're in an organization. They just get a call and
mm,
boom,
yeah,
they're warlike
yeah,
creatures.
yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a problem, and thank God that Miss Harris didn't get elected because what's going on in Europe will be here already. Luckily, we do got some grace because Trump. You know, he's still doing what he can for America, but Americans, we got to choose at some point what's best for us when we look in the mirror. What's going on
Okay.
in these blue states, Minneapolis, New York, California? It's insane. Illinois, when you have people getting paid to protest people being arrested who do not belong here.
And that's what I'm trying to tell the police, that they're paying people to take out Republicans and harass them based on their what their identities are. They pick at their soft spots. And
Mm,
that's why I want them to go back. I'm sorry that if they can make an organization to take out Republican candidates like me, they can try to take you out by doing
mhm.
certain things to you and you don't even know it.
But I think we ought to be careful not to label the whole group because immigrants. I mean, I've been an immigrant. I went to Canada and lived for over a year under the table.
Let me
But
be clear, it's not all immigrants.
okay, okay, okay,
I'm talking to you. You
yeah,
see what I'm saying?
yeah, right, yeah. That's. I mean, making it clear is just definitely a point that we should put out there that some people, if I was in their shoes and somebody gave me a chance to come to a country like mine, I would do it too.
Me too.
And you got
Somebody did
some
in
some
my
some,
family.
some immigrants are doing their business, keeping their nose clean, and every time I see them, they smile at me and say good morning.
Exactly.
I ain't got a problem with them. So
Me
I mean,
neither.
we need to look at those who are bringing in bad elements. We need to look at them with the eye, but we need to also understand we all being manipulated. That's the issue.
Do you believe that, you know, they are using immigrants sort of like you, the good ones,
Hmm.
and y'all have to fight between whether, hey, if you do this for me, I'll vote for you. They're
Well,
using because if they really cared, they would have jobs open for you, real legal jobs that
mhm,
or drop down the felonies to let them in corporate world. No, they smushed you until and molded you enough to buy an illegal weapon, travel with tons of kilos of drugs. You
mhm,
see what I'm saying? They
yeah.
put just like the black person, you're still a black person and you know how a black man can get profiled. You felt that before at least
Mhm.
once in your life.
Is that a question?
No, I just want to
Okay.
know if what is your opinion.
My opinion again, we need to look at and see who's the real bad guy in this, and understand that we are being manipulated. I think once we understand that we're being manipulated, we will look at things differently. I mean, because there it's to me, and it's not paranoia. I mean, even though some people say paranoia is the highest form of enlightenment, but the people who are melanated are being purposely divided. Now, again, if there was no abortion and the millions and millions of babies, Americans, weren't slaughtered before they were given a chance to breathe in the air at all, we will have less of a necessary need to order out for workers. If we had an educational system that still taught the A's, B's, C's, and reading and writing and arithmetic, and a real the ability to work with your hands, like back in the day where they had shop, where kids were able to learn how to work with their hands, and we honor people who work with their hands. We don't honor people who work with their hands now, and so if those two things right there, we will have less of a need to order out for immigrants because we will have a population on a plus side rather than negative side, and we will have a real educated population and one that really knows and loves to work with the hands. Say, Mom, I want to be an electrician. Mom, I want to be a welder. Mom, I want to go out there and hammer a nail. Very few parents are wanting their child to put their hands in the dirt. but that's where the money's at, and that in most cases take 6 months, 12 months to graduate, and some go out with almost upwards of six figure of the 5 to 6 figure earnings straight out of on graduation. But yet you don't put everybody on the path of college, and not everybody's meant to go on college. But again, when we talk the immigrant issue, is not just one thing.
Hmm.
It's lot of contrast, a lot of moving parts. You got to answer the question: why is this happening? If we have so many people, this is the best country on the planet, but yet we are being driven to third world status, not by accident.
All the third world countries actually gave us high tariffs while Biden and the rest of the Democrats were in office, laughing at us behind our back while these fake, possibly, allegedly, through conspiracy theories, fake wars went on. People, your family died in different countries if you're from different countries. My family died, my heritage back in Africa somewhere, like different countries were fighting and still is,
Hmm.
and well, not no more actually. Well, he is suppressed a little bit, but he cannot control what the continent of Africa is doing. He cannot control what Russia and Ukraine is doing, because, to be quite honest, if it wasn't for their uh, transparent agreement, people wouldn't be dying. And I don't understand it. It's like, if I don't like you, I'm not gonna tell the police to try to do something to you, when, or you tell the police to do something to me, and then we're just, my family, or I do it to your family. Just, it makes no sense.
Well, I think we need to look at again why this is happening. And when you look at the black community, the Negro community, we 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 are we are in trouble. I mean, that there's an article that came out in 2017 in Black Enterprise, which for whatever reason has got nearly as much publicity as it should. There's actually an article talking about how the Negro community will have a net wealth zero by 2053, and you ask the question to yourself, well, if it's two things happening
I'm
that
listening.
don't really make sense. We are after taxes, we're the most wealthiest group in this country, second now behind the Hispanics at $1.3 trillion that goes through our pockets, our community annually after taxes. So you would think we'd be wealthy, but there's different types of wealth. There's a wealth that's spendable wealth, and there's a wealth that you could actually build generational wealth on.
Mhm.
We're not getting education on how to build generational wealth. We know how to earn a dollar, spend $1.50. That's what we do. Other communities, they earn a dollar and spend 75 cents, because they have a different culture where they actually understand the value of a dollar. No one's coming to our community to show us how to invest in gold, commodities, the stock market, real valuable stuff that appreciates over time. Not go out and buy $300 tennis shoes that won't have no value after you put your foot in it.
That's like what they did in Africa, though. They sold us as slaves, and now, I actually love the fact that they did that. So that's one thing I will say. But
Okay.
Michael Jordan tennis shoes, he got wealth, and we're paying his wealth. Period.
Well, I mean, I don't hate Mike for doing that. I
I
mean,
don't
'cause,
hate him, but I'm
this,
telling the
yeah, I
truth.
understand. Yeah, it is. If he didn't do it, somebody should do it, because we are the engine that pushes our country forward through our buying. No one is more of a consumer than the Negro community. But we need to look at, if they are forecasting our demise, we need to ask the question: Why, how, and what can I do to change that? Because it's coming. If they're already forecasting, if like it's like the weatherman forecasting the storm and it comes, we need to understand what path did he see that storm coming, and what do we need to take into account to prepare for that storm is coming. If they're already saying that we're gonna have a net wealth by 2053, we need to start maybe batten down the hatches, going to Kroger or whatever, and start preparing for this thing, because they always saying it's coming, and they looking at trends that are in our community. That if we don't change those trends, like becoming more financially educated, like stop getting a dollar and spending $1.50, like maybe getting more involved in the financial system as capitalists, not just consumers, then we are in a world of hurt.
Okay.
And plus, also, if you look at the fact that 80% of our children are born out of wedlock, and we have a majority of females who aren't married, would never get married, and you have still almost 50% of men not married in the black community.
You
Where
know
is the
what's
community?
pretty cool?
What's
You
that?
know, the fact that Trump has stopped the crime with black men, and he stopped the black men, that innocent black man like you, from dying from another black man's hands, and another lower class white man's hands, and another lower class. Because I just feel like 40 million of
He's
us,
trying.
and
He's
out of
trying
all
anyway.
the black men are getting suppressed the most. Whoever was in office prior to Trump, y'all were dying, 2,000 of y'all in Philadelphia, like for
Mhm.
the year. Now imagine that for 10 years. So whatever you said, just know Trump is trying to do what he can.
But he got one more good year.
Yeah.
It's not about Trump. It's about ourselves. If we take care
Uh,
of our own home, we will survive this. But if you see the proliferation of black on black violence, not just in the streets, they're on streaming channels, they're they're on the news progress. We're killing ourselves. It don't have anything to do with what's going on outside of our borders. Whether Trump do it or anyone do it, we're killing ourselves. Ain't no white man doing it. Ain't nobody walking around in sheets. We're doing that to ourselves. Until we stop that, it's always going to be a you problem.
you sh- yeah, it's always going to be a you problem, but I definitely can agree with you. Like, you feel like somebody is walking around in white sheets and stuff, and that you feel like Trump. I get it. You're entitled to your opinion. There's no however or but. This is your show.
Mm.
So I wanted to know, where do you see yourself in the future with whatever it is you got going on?
I just want people just to wake up. Um, if I get more of the word out, empower people to uh, become self-sustaining, because there's a storm coming. There's retribution coming. History shows that no empire lasts forever, and we are on the other side of the hill. The best view of this country is in the rearview mirror, so we need to all prepare for that. And we're not gonna be ready for this if we do not take the proper measures to start loving each other, becoming more educated, becoming more community aware. It's not about what's going on in DC, it's what's going on outside of your door. We need to come together as a people, white, black, American, because that is what is going to save us. And if I could get people to wake up and become aware of the situation and start just asking questions, not just following the herd. Don't fear being the forest in the desert. Don't fear doing that, because you're still living. you're still creating an environment that is producing life, even in the desert. Don't fear being that lone ranger, because you might be right. Everybody else might be wrong. You ever thought about that? It's not the crowd that makes it right. You could be right on your own and be willing to stand on that.
Hmm. Let me see. I'm just confused because I wanted to know, like, give me a second. How do you feel? I don't know what you just said. Well, I know what you just said, but okay. No, because they just blocked me. Whatever you just said blocked
Oh,
me from there. I had to appeal it. I'll wait 30 minutes.
oh wow.
So, yeah, I just got booted off of TikTok. It's okay.
Oh,
It
oh, we
happens.
were
It's not,
live.
yeah, we were live
Oh
that whole
wow.
time. You
Okay.
didn't
Okay.
know?
No, no, no. That's cool.
Cool. Good. Yeah. So like I was saying, I feel like Trump is an amazing person. I think that what he's doing for this country is very good. That's my opinion, but I
All right. So
understand
yeah.
your opinion.
No, yeah. I mean, I
It's
think
duly
Trump
noted.
Trump would go down as one of the most effective presidents we ever had.
Yeah, he's very effective no matter if I mean, he never said he was in white sheets before. I don't know where I never read that.
Well, his
That's not
dad,
accurate.
his dad was, but what the sense of the father don't necessarily hand down to the son. I mean, just like if your father was an abuser, you're not necessarily going to be an abuser unless you choose to be an abuser. And the fact that if Trump's father or whole family might be racist, if he was a racist, we would heard about it. And every story that I've seen that I heard, he has not shown any racism. Now that does not mean he's perfect, but he's not a racist. Biden, on the other hand, you could ask some questions there, you know, but nobody want to talk about that side. If Trump was a racist, we would heard about it. There have been somebody to say, hey, he did this to me back then. This man has had every orifice of his body examined for over what 15 years. Ain't heard about it, really? But you want to go back to what's his name? Forget that other candidate's name, but they went back to his childhood to find out that he abused somebody in elementary school. Romney. They went way back to his adolescent years to bring some dirt on him. Or the fact that he rode with his dog on top of the car. You can find out about Romney, but you can't find any dirt on Trump. Come on now. If it's a racist, somebody would have been screaming on every news channel, he did this to me. I ain't heard that.
Okay. Um, I'm so glad that you feel that way, I just hope that 40 million of us can just be those good people and unite together, because we need to figure out a strategy to not use pyramid schemes to or Ponzi or whatever it's called to, you know, well, you don't. Like for instance, people like me, I've tried to talk to NPR radio company. I've tried to talk to PBS. I've tried to talk to NBC and everywhere with very accurate results for to be in publicity. And They'd rather take a shooting over me. It's always a black woman whose son got shot. And I get it. I understand. But what can we do to solve it? It's been going on for decades now. You keep putting the same type of people on, just making them just, who is shooting in Seattle? I mean, what do you think?
Well, like I said, there's an orchestrated effort to bring down this country. There's an orchestrated effort. We need to understand that before Barack Obama, polls have shown that we didn't have a race issue before Barack Obama, in the sense that we were literally, we can't talk to each other. I'm not saying that it was a racial utopia. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Barack Obama came into office promising to um, fundamentally change this country. How do you fundamentally change this country? You have everybody nipping at everybody's heels, ain't talking to anybody. You make it personal tax on people, a way to communicate, and you incentivize mob rule over the individual. And
Wow.
and he did that to perfection. And he would go down as one of the most effective presidents in the negative sense, in the sense that he did everything he could to make it a black and white issue. And he had 8 years to cultivate that. And then he had another 4 through Biden to do the same thing.
Yeah, Biden was the vice president at the time, and he was senator. Um, I mean, I I'm not I have an oath, as this is my own oath, that I will never say F a president. However, what Biden did before Biden, what before Trump, what Obama did, and what Bush did, they helped me in my own way. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't even be in my right concept had they not orchestrated what they orchestrated. I would be dead by now. So I thank them for that. However, I'm I'm very let down, and I don't understand why. And that's how I feel. Why? I know partially why, but until I get a full answer from all presidents, I just, that will be up in the air with me. Why did you let on your watch, on your authority, me suffer so much, and why are you still allowing it?
Is there a reason for that? I mean, the black community is the most powerful community, not just in this country. The Negro American community is the richest community as far as melanated people. We're the most powerful people because we are born on this continent, in this country. The Caucasian group is a minority of minority. So it's all about money. It comes down to power and money. And when you look at the black community, as I did my four part podcast on the authentic Negro compared to the synthetic Negro, we got to look at how you like that, huh?
I like
Uh,
it. I like
yeah,
it.
so it's 4 parts, and it goes to how we were before LBJ, before the 1960s. If you look at pictures of us before 1960s, totally different people. If you see our communities, and we could say Tulsa, we could say Sweet Auburn, and all the other very prominent, self-sufficient black communities back then, and we could say, well, see what happened to them. That's not the point. The point, we did it. We did it, and that's what they made sure would never happen again. Not on their watch. and they've been very successful. Got to give
I
them the
think
difference due.
the right the corporate black people that are making headways and headlines, that work constantly and constantly, that's doing big things and in the paper, even the people I hate, I commend them. I commend them. But I don't, as long as you're not an atheist and you live by a Christian and or any God, just live by a God or the ultimate God. I'm thankful that you're in that position, and stay in that position and try to extract as much as you can out of that position, because you may not be there one day. So
But
use what you
how
can.
many black celebrities do you know to be in that position? God fearing. How many do you know, not directly, but maybe indirectly, that haven't sold their soul to the devil to get to that point?
We that is complex, but I'll answer it. We I've never sold my soul to the devil. I've never wrote a script or anything, blood, none of that. If Beyonce is who Nikki says she is, you know, I don't know. I'm not saying I like Beyonce. I'm not saying I love Beyonce. I'm not saying I will even associate or listen to Beyonce, because we are
So what are you
affiliated.
saying then?
Listen. We are affiliated through one of my friends. Not even a friend. This person, she has attacked me. I I don't want to say personally, but she knows who I am. Out of all women, she gets one woman in my high school a shout out. She did. And I was like, I wasn't disgusted, I wasn't jealous, but it was noted. And I was like, okay, it was so huge, it made 10,000 votes or 10,000 likes. And as I began to listen to her over the years, the last straw with Beyonce is when she said she was a god. And I said, can you verify that? How do we know? Why are you saying that? But yet now your bestie is coming out of the woods going to Trump land and saying, hey, you killed and emasculated or tried murdered. There's no way around that. A kid that she is blacklisted from my life for doing that, or even affiliating herself with something like that. That is not harassment. I am not saying she's a bad person. I am not saying it. What if it didn't happen? Who knows? But I am saying that why is it the same story? The same story. You know, this is, and then you look at people like me that tells the truth since day one, and that I have a bad rap sheet. And then people like her that possibly, I'm not saying she does, I have to say it this way, pays her way to to get people to shut the heck up. I don't like that. I shouldn't have to pay nobody to protect me or pay nobody to do something for me. I feel like I should be protected because I know that I am being harassed.
Well, I mean, I always say, we are in a fallen world. If you expect people to act angelically, you'll be waiting for a long time. Um, because you really can't control what somebody else does necessarily. So I look at that. I mean, um, humans are what humans are. But w- I don't put faith in no one. I put my faith in my creator. Um, when you look at the black community, the Negro community today, um, and you look at back in the 60s where you had real suffering in the black community, you didn't have backstabbers. or blacks working against other blacks to the same degree. And I'm totally aware of, you know, when you look at Marcus Garvey, when you look at Malcolm, and when you look at King, the people who we say took them down were our own people. So we always had that so-called crab in the barrel um, thing. But you also had where you had Smoking Joe Frazier and Muhammad hooking each other up. You know, even during the period of this supposed serious beef, because they were all trying to get up on the get up. You know, and they're helping each other up. So it's more of a black community. And even when you look at Bill Cosby, Bill Cosby was definitely looking out for how blacks were portrayed on TV through his shows. And there's stories and stories and stories and stories how we back in the day took care of each other because we saw who the real enemy was. We don't have that same concept and vision today. So unfortunately, we we are putting a noose around our own neck. You you will not see movies and TV shows showing cops getting killed at the rate that we see blacks getting killed on TV and media. Remember, not that long ago, Tupac and NWA was saying, kill the police." They shut that up. You know,
I forgot about that.
they shut that up. But yet, we got Negroes saying, "Let's kill other Negroes" on the airways. We see 50 Cent got his own streaming channel, and all the thing you see is him killing other Negroes, and it's a thing. Why is that? Why is that a thing? And back in the day, saying kill the cops wasn't a thing. Or you can't say kill the cops to on the air because you have some fool out there want to kill cops.